Hi everyone, in the previous sessions we have gone through introduction to the Python data structures and built-in and user-defined data structures, where we also discussed about list, tuple, set and dictionary methods in Python. In the today's session we are going to discuss about looping statements in Python, which are very important and useful in the real-world applications. So what does a looping statements mean in Python? So first, looping means we perform some action or operation more than once. In that time, we will use the looping statements in Python. Means we perform an action repeatedly more than once. So basically we have two types of looping statements. One is for loop and the other is while loop. So for loop is nothing but we will iterate and over a sequence as mentioned here. So for better understanding, let me show you an example. For suppose we have list of elements like 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, where we will say that these elements are in a sequence because they are placed one after the other, okay, and these are enclosed in the square brackets. So this is a list in Python. So this topic is already discussed in the previous sessions. You can go through the previous videos too for better understanding of list and its methods. So here I want to iterate over the sequence. It means I want to print all these elements at a time apart from accessing each element from the list. At that time we will use for loop in Python. When comes to the while loop will be basically based on some condition. If some condition is true, iterate over it. It means repeat these many times. If the condition is false, it comes out of the loop. It means the while loop works when the condition is true. While loop doesn't works when the condition is false. Means while loop works when the condition is true. While loop doesn't works when the condition is false. That is the main point of the while loop. Here you can see the syntax of both the looping statements. This is the syntax of for loop and this is the syntax of while loop. For your better understanding, let us have a practical session on these looping statements. We have discussed that the looping statements are nothing but performing an action more than once. Okay, and we have two types of looping statements in Python. One is a for loop and the other is while loop. So first we will see with the for loop. As we say, for loop is nothing but iterating over a sequence, right? So for example, we take some list of elements like list example equal to some values 12, 45, 90 and 56 and 89, and I want to iterate over the sequence, so my output should be 12. After 12 in a new line, I want to have a 45, 90, 56 and 89 in my output as a result. So for this, how we will write a for loop here. So first we will use a keyword for, and we will give some variable name, for suppose where in list underscore eg, and I give a column and click on enter. Here the where indicates the every element in the list. For suppose let me print the where so you better understand. Now run this code, you'll get the output as 12, 45, 90, 56 and 89. So here where represent the elements in the list. Not only the elements, each element. Here we need to mention it as each element in the list. Okay, for suppose if I want to iterate over a tuple sequence, then I will use tup equal to 12 and I'll change the values like something A, B, say 89.76, and I want to iterate over the tuple sequence in the same way I use for where. I can also change here with some other variable name, nothing but element n2, and use a column and print it and print the element and run it. So here we can see 12AB 89.76 as an output. Here the element represents every item in the list, not list, that is tuple. Okay, here the element represents the every item in the tuple. So for suppose if we want to iterate over a range of values, over a range of values, in that time we will use for I in range method in Python. So here you can say we have a stop comma support index. Here we can have I comma j, where I represents the starting index and j represents the ending index. So I comma j, so for your better understanding I have written as I comma j. So I represents the starting index, and j represents the ending index. So I'll give the values above, like I equal to 0 and j equal to 10. So my for loop needs to be starts from 0th index and ends with the ith index, and end with the ith index. And now just print the values of I. Nothing but we will get the output as 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So always the ending index will be taken -1. we need to give additionally extra. For suppose if I give here 11, then we will get the 10 also in the output statements. So this is a small practical view on looping statements, nothing but say while loop. Iterates repeatedly until the condition is false. So the while, for suppose I have count value equal to 0, and I'll give while condition, and I check count must be less than or equal to 5. So I want to print the count value. The count is here. I'll write it as count and hit enter, and I'll give count plus plus, and this is an increment statement in Python, or else we can write count equal to count plus 1. This is also okay, or we can write count plus plus, which is an increment operator in Python that is already discussed in the previous sessions. So, and I'll run this code. Let's see what it shows as an output. So count is starting from 0, 1, 2, 3. So first here, when it comes here, so first it will check whether the 0 is less than or equal to 5. It is true. So it prints the statement. So it prints the count is 0. So again here we have given count equal to count plus 1. So count equal to 0 plus 1, that is equal to 1. So the count value is updated to 1. Again it checks with whether the 1 is less than or equal to 5. It is true. Again the count value is printed. Again here the count value is printed. Again the count is incremented. Here the count value is 1. So count equal to 1 plus 1, that is equal to 2. So again count 2 is less than 5. So the condition is true. So again it prints the count value. Again it increases the count until it reaches to 5, where the condition, here we have a given condition, the 5 is less than or equal to 5. It iterates until 5 less than or equal to 5. So this is also true in this conditional statement. So the while loop gets stopped when the count value is 6. When the count value is 6, the loop stops iterating. Stops the iteration and exits from the loop. Exit from the loop. So here you can clearly understand we are performing some action repeatedly until some condition is false. So we are repeating the same action. So that's why we will call it as a looping statement here. In the same way, it is same for the for loop also. We are performing some action that is nothing but we are printing the elements that are present in the tuple or list. So we are repeating the same action again and again. In that case, we will say it as a looping statements in Python. So coming back to our presentation, practical view on for and while loop and why they are called as a looping statements in Python. So here in the looping statements, we also have the nested loops that we will discuss in the advanced sessions in the Python. So that's it about the today's session. In the upcoming sessions, we are going to discuss about jumping statements in Python, which are very important and are linked to the looping statements too. So thank you. Have a nice day. This is Gayatri from Learning and Expertise signing off.